Letitia, it was a late night for a lot of us last night, and people anxiously, eagerly awaiting the results of that election. What we learned from election officials today is that we may be waiting until after Thanksgiving. They're only separated by a few thousand votes, a razor-thin margin that puts their chances at winning very close together. The candidates, though, couldn't be farther apart when it comes to what it all means.
Because of your hard work, we have won this race for governor of North Carolina.
Hold on. This is the process we're going through.
Election day was only part of that process of counting votes. Across North Carolina, county election boards continue to accept absentee ballots postmarked on or before Election Day until next Monday. Overseas and military absentee ballots, November 17th. Each of the 100 counties will canvass on the 18th and certify their results. A campaign must ask for a recount by the 22nd, a full week before the State Board of Elections certifies the results.
Let me tell you what we're going to do between now and November 18th. First of all, we're going to make sure every vote counts during this canvass in all 100 counties. And we're going to do just that. And we're going to need your help.
Today, McCrory stayed silent, but a campaign spokesperson claimed there are, quote, tens of thousands of ballots left to count. The campaign also promised to devote all appropriate financial and human resources to this effort and let the system work. Election officials explained each county will be responsible for recounting ballots from all of its precincts. Steve, to understand the situation, it helps to understand the calendar, what we prepared for you here tonight. So we know Election Day took place on Tuesday the 8th. We are now almost 2 weeks from there. But that was set up so that there was about 10 days for absentee ballots to come in from across the country and around the world, and for County Board of Elections to judge the provisional ballots. Now, Friday was supposed to be the day when all counties would canvass and then certify their election results, giving more time for a possible recount before the state convenes after Thanksgiving. The problem is no one has certified anything, so all bets have been off. Wake County's Board of Elections director knew 2016 was a big year. He just didn't expect it to be this long of a year.
Everybody wants to have that quick, immediate answer, but no matter what, in the end, it has to be the right answer.
Wake County will not certify the election results because the Board of Elections hasn't finished counting yet. 35,000 people requested absentee ballots and 25,000 sent them back by Election Day. The rules, though, allow voters to postmark theirs by Election Day, so there were as many as 9,000 ballots coming in from across the country and around the world. There was also plenty of other work done waiting for the mail, sorting through nearly 7,000 provisional ballots.
We've had a lot of lawsuits that we've dealt with, not just Wake County, but the state of North Carolina. A lot of changes have come about this year.
Provisional ballots are cast by voters either in the wrong precinct or voters who had issues with their registrations. They're reviewed one at a time. And new this year, a judge ordered a new check and balance for counties to confirm information with the DMV.
Right now, it's just a timing issue. As of Friday, we didn't have any additional information from the state. That was pretty much it. Our board had to set some type of a date.
Complicating the counting, as many as 54 protests filed in 34 counties. Durham's board last week spent a whole day hearing a challenge to 90,000 votes counted by hand because of a voting machine glitch.
I filed this petition because I thought it was perfunctory and that the board would be interested in doing a recount where there was any discrepancy.
The board unanimously rejected the protest. What happens next is all hypothetical, so let's go back to the calendar here and then flip to January. Well, state law gives the state an extra 10 days to canvass, so that means the last possible date of that for the state to certify the election would be December 9th. Again, and that is a possible time for a recount beforehand. Of course, this is all maybe because there could be some legal challenges. And if this goes to court, what do you have left? Just a lot of drama.
Jonah, the State Board of Elections is laying down a major speed bump in this process, ordering that partial recount of 94,000 votes in Durham County. Then we learned today that a recount could take a week. So here we are, 23 days
in December.
In December, 23 days after election night. Take us where we've been and where we're going.
Well, Republicans challenged the votes because some of the machines needed a software update, some of the machines counting the votes. Now, I want to show you here because this was a protest that was first brought to Durham. The Durham Board of Elections has 2 Republicans out of 3. They voted 3-0 against the recount. Then the Republicans appealed to the state board. It voted along party lines, 3 Republicans, 2 Democrats. 3-2 approved the recount. Right or wrong, this is now the reality, and it's going to cost time and money.
We have to get the staff to do it. We have to get the machines to do it. We have to get the machines program to do it. We have to get the bipartisan teams to watch everybody doing it, to do it. We have to have an order from the state board before we can do anything.
That last part, at least, is being done late today. The State Board of Elections formally ordering a machine recount of 94,000 ballots cast for governor during the early voting period. What happens next is a lot more complicated than just flipping a switch.
My understanding is that you need to reprogram the tabulators so that they just tabulate the one race rather than all 65,000 votes on all the other races and all the rest of it again.
The board chair explained there's also a chance the county will have to rehire temporary election staff. More people and more machines could speed things up, too.
Well, there's 94,000 ballots that have to be each handled by hand and fed into the machine. I mean, it just takes a certain amount of time to do that.
All of this will also take a certain amount of money, too. Officials estimate tens of thousands of dollars. The exact amount won't be known until it's over. The board hopes to start the process early next week.
I hate not knowing, but that's the reality.
We've had a lot of people ask on social media if this affects a statewide recount. The answer is no. Roy Cooper still leads by more than 10,000 votes over Pat McCrory. That's, again, above the threshold. But there might be a state recount anyway, because if you look at the state auditor's race, here you have Beth Wood leading Chuck Stuber by less than 6,000. So all the counties could be preparing for recount anyway. We are live here. Jonah Kaplan, ABC 11 Eyewitness News.
24 days and counting without a declared winner in the race for North Carolina governor. The State Board of Elections will meet tomorrow to consider another protest, and there's already one recount in the works. That recount is in Durham County, and officials are scrambling to get this done in time for a Monday deadline. Jonah Kaplan is live in Durham tonight. Jonah, how will this recount work, and how much will it cost?
Well, Tisha, I'll address that second question first because it's a little easier to answer. We know today that this will cost the taxpayers of Durham County at least $35,000. Now, how this will work, it's actually very complicated, and it involves a lot more than just flipping a switch.
All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Very good. All right, we're in recess.
And with that, the Durham Board of Elections started a recess with lots of homework. Recount every vote cast in every race on 94,000 ballots.
We need to have teams of no less than 2 per machine. We're going to try to run 26 machines. We're anticipating roughly 13 seconds a ballot, so you can start doing the math on that.
Challenge accepted. 13 seconds times 94,000 ballots. Divide that by the number of seconds in an hour. Divide that by 26 machines. A 13-hour job. But each machine needs 2 staff. So the board needs to hire 1 Democrat and 1 Republican for 26 machines. That's 52 new part-time positions.
We'll even take into account the cost of like the electricity.
Those 26 voting tabulating machines, it's almost half of the entire Durham County fleet. Electricians need to gauge whether the electrical system in the building could even handle that power. Going somewhere else isn't easy either.
If we move it somewhere else, then we have to get security to oversee the moving of the ballots, and we have to figure out some way to secure the ballots. We can't just leave them sitting in the corner.
Election officials were hoping for a week. Now they only get a few days. The entire election may depend on Durham County, at least until the next challenge.
The order that we received from the state board was an order that it seems to me was designed to cause us to fail. I don't know why that order was entered in that way, and I don't know whose interest it is in for us to fail.
Steve, no moving trucks here right now. They won't be here for several weeks, but we now know, of course, that Governor Pat McCrory is giving up on his bid for a second term.
During this wonderful season, it's also time to celebrate our democratic process and respect what I see to be the ultimate outcome of the closest North Carolina governor's race in modern history.
The closest race might have also been the longest one, 27 days. On election night, Pat McCrory ended the night with a beginning, telling supporters to gear up for a new campaign.
First of all, we're going to make sure every vote counts during this canvass in all 100 counties. And we're going to do just that. And we're going to need your help.
Nearly 4 weeks later, McCrory now says the majority of the voters have spoken.
And we now should do everything we can to support the 75th governor of North Carolina, Roy Cooper.
Still, McCrory's campaign did almost everything it could to avoid this moment. In the first 10 days after the election, Republican attorneys filed more than 50 protests in nearly 36 counties, challenging votes they claimed were cast by people who were either dead, in jail, or ineligible some other way. On November 18th, a protest in Durham County earned a special hearing, questioning 94,000 ballots because the vote-counting machines ran out of computer memory. Republicans would lose that and many other challenges too, but the GOP didn't give up.
It's reasonable to go and test that data by counting the votes or retabulating them.
On November 30th, the State Board of Elections ordered Durham County to recount those 94,000 votes. But on that same day, Roy Cooper's lead surpassed 10,000 votes for the first time, past the threshold needed for a mandatory recount. It would never go back.
And I encourage everyone, now more than ever, to respect all of our public servants and the offices they were elected to hold.
In a tweet, Roy Cooper simply said, "Thank you." By day's end, the NC GOP, Senator Tom Tillis, and NC Values Coalition sent messages thanking McCrory for his service to the state. Cooper might now be the governor-elect, but he's got quite a battle ahead of him even after this election, Steve. He'll face large Republican majorities in the House and Senate.